Good evening, and welcome to a special edition of Cooking with Michael. Tonight's date night dinner is a little bit different. If you've been watching, you know we typically do this on Saturday. They get posted later on Saturday night. But this one's different because today is my wife's birthday. Today is Wednesday, so I'm going to do something a little bit different. We're going to have one special for tonight. We're going to do a pan-seared tilapia, followed with Spanish rice. And some spinach on the side. So if you've been watching, I hope you enjoy it. I hope you've enjoyed the videos. I hope you've subscribed to my channel so you continue to see more of them as they come up. And I hope you really enjoy this dinner. We'll be getting ready to start here in just a couple minutes. Again, for you, it'll only be a couple seconds, but I'm getting ready to start the dinner, and I'll show you how it's done, and hopefully you will like it. And, of course, if you haven't yet, please subscribe to my channel. So you get alerts when I post videos every week. So thank you again for watching, and I hope you enjoy it. We'll get ready to start. All right, let's go ahead and get started. First things first, as we know, Pinot Grigio. It's what we do when we get ready to cook. So make sure you have your Pinot Grigio ready. I've already put it into a glass, and I'm going to take a sip. All right, we're ready to go. So the first part of the meal we're going to make, because it is the longest part of the meal, we're going to do the Spanish rice first. To do that, go ahead and turn on your your stove in a skillet and put some olive oil in, okay? Put some olive oil in, just a little bit, not a whole lot, and get that nice and hot. I'm just kind of move it around a little bit. If you watched the last episode, we used olive oil before, and you'll see me using it a lot. You don't mix it around with a paper towel like maybe our parents told us to do. Let it get hot, a little bit thin, and then move it around yourself just by moving the pan around, which is good. Then what we want to do, once it gets to a certain temperature, we want to take just a little bit of onion powder. Not a lot, just a little bit of onion powder. And you're going to put a little bit of onion powder in it. Just a couple of shakes there, okay? You can use fresh onion, chop it up if you'd like. Onion powder works fine for me because I'm going to show you, we're going to do something, an ingredient we're going to add a little bit later will already have onions in it. So again, one of the big things is not to overpower anything we're doing, okay? So what I'm going to do with that, I'm going to check to see if the temperature is ready. And again, remember, just put your hand on the faucet, get a little bit of water, and if you hear it sizzle, it's ready. So what we want to do now is we want to take a bag of rice, and I just use white rice. It's easy, healthy, that's fine. So I am going to put a cup and a half of rice in here. So I actually have a quarter cup measuring cup because I can't find my half measuring cup. So I'm going to put it in there. So that's 1, 2. That's a half a cup. Now 4 more will equal a cup, and I'll get my full cup and a half of white rice in here. 2, 3, 4. And that is my cup and a half of the white rice. We'll put that measuring cup in there, and we will take the rice and put that away for now. What you want to do is begin to let the rice brown. Sorry, I put that away. So again, when I said you want to begin to let the rice brown in there, it will take not too long, but you want to kind of flatten it out, get it, stir it around the skillet, okay? And as I've done more of these videos, I've started to get some things prepared ahead of time. So some of the ingredients you're going to see have already been kind of measured out or gotten ready. But this one was a little bit easier to do while you're watching. So make sure, again, it's on like a medium heat. Don't want to put it too high because you don't want to burn it, okay? That's a big thing. You don't want to burn the rice. If you burn it, you kind of ruin the whole taste of it because that burnt taste of the rice will permeate all the way through the seasonings for the Mexican rice. So just get it nice and brown. A little bit tender. It's not really going to get too tender because you're not mixing with water just yet, or any kind of liquid just yet, I should say. Because you're never really going to put water into Spanish rice. So, but let it sit there and let it heat up. You'll start to hear it kind of uh, sizzle a little bit when it's cooking. And as you're doing that, you want to keep kind of stirring it. You want to try and keep it from sticking to the bottom of the pan. That's where the olive oil comes in. It helps prevent it from sticking to the bottom of the pan and, again, ruining the rice. Again, if you get burned rice, it's never a good thing. So, well, I continue to move it around a little bit. Let it sit. Look at the temperature. We're looking good on the stove. I'm going to take another glass, or another sip, not a full glass yet, but another sip of my white wine. My Pinot Grigio. One of the reasons for the wine, just as a side note, it kind of is a time killer as well, because some of these things do take a little bit of time while they're cooking. As we've talked about in my other videos, the whole idea of these meals is quick. It's tasty, easy to make, but quick. And the reason why we do quick, again, is because the whole idea is to spend time with your loved one, spend time with your partner, spend time with whoever you're having a date night with. Not cooking, but talking and getting, catching up with them and whatnot. That quality time. That's really what it's about. So the meal should be the smallest part of it, but the making of the meal should be the smallest part. The biggest part is the eating and the talking and whatnot. So you may not be able to hear, but it is starting to sizzle a little more. So I'm going to stir it around just a little more. You won't actually see the rice turn a full brown color. We're not going to let it go that far. But as you can see, it does give a little bit of a brownish tint to it. Not quite ready yet. You want to make sure as many pieces of the rice actually have that brown tint to it while you're doing this. So let it cook just a little bit longer, and then we'll go ahead and do the next step, which is getting it all prepared. So I'm going to take another sip of my wine. And actually, what I'm going to do, I don't need the onion powder anymore. I'm going to put that away because, in fact, we already did the onion powder on here. So almost ready to add the other ingredients. The other ingredients, while this is cooking, you want to make sure you have 2 cups of chicken broth. I've already made that in here, and I'll pour it right in. But 2 cups of chicken broth. You'll put that in when the rice is nice and brown and ready for it. And then 1 cup of salsa. And it's got to be chunky salsa. And you can do a mild, a medium, a hot, whatever you want to do. We use a medium salsa for this. It gives it a nice flavor. It's not too spicy. It doesn't overpower the rice. It doesn't make it too hot, whatnot. But it does give it a nice flavor. Mild's fine too. I've done it with mild. But our favorite tends to be the medium salsa. And just so you know, any salsa, whatever your favorite brand is, we do shop a lot at Aldi. And you may have heard me say that before. But that's typically where we do a lot of our grocery shopping. Except for the meat and the fish and whatnot that I'm making. I get that from a regular fish market, and I'll tell you about that in a second. But I'm hoping if I say Aldi enough, maybe they'll sponsor me. But yeah, so we use Aldi to get our stuff. So the Aldi brand salsa is fine, but there are other brands out there that work just as fine. So really, it's your preference and what kind of salsa you like. So we're just about there now. I'll show you what it looks like. Again, you can see well, it moved around, but it's a little bit of a brownish hue to it, which is nice. And if I touch it, it's a little bit tender, whatnot. So, and some pieces have got a little more brown than the other. That's okay. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my 2 cups of chicken broth. I'm going to pour that in. And as you can hear, it's nice and sizzly. That means it's certainly hot enough. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my 1 cup of salsa. Again, kind of prepare this ahead of time. My 1 cup of salsa, put that in as well. Okay? Get all the salsa out of there. Okay? And then I'm going to stir this up. I'll put this in the sink real quick. And then I'm going to stir this, okay, till it's nice and stirred and mixed together. It's going to seem very watery right now, and that's okay. That's what it's supposed to do. Okay? We're going to get everything nice and mixed together. The chunky salsa already has the onions and the green peppers and tomatoes, which is why we use chunky salsa. That way you don't have to add onions ahead of time. You don't have to add peppers, tomatoes, whatnot. It kind of little bit of a cheating way to do it, but it makes a really nice Spanish rice, and again, it's quick. So once I mix it all together, I'm going to reach over, I'm going to take my lid, and I'm going to put this on here. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it boil, and then reduce it to a simmer. I simmer for about 25 minutes or so. What you want to do is just when you're cooking normal rice and the water's all gone, that's basically when you know the Spanish rice is done too, because the liquid is basically gone, and it's just the red Spanish rice. So I'll let that go in there. It's starting to boil. I'm going to turn it down to low and let it simmer. I'm going to set my timer for about 25 minutes. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to let it go, and I'm going to go ahead and pause us, and we'll come back right after this, right when it's close to being done, and I'll show you what we do to pan-sear the tilapia. That's going to be a great thing. So sit tight, and we'll be back in just a moment. Enjoy. All right, we're back. So we have just a couple minutes left on the rice. I'll show you what it's done when the timer goes off, what it looks like. But before I start doing the tilapia, we are going to have a side of bread. So again, you heard me say that we go to Aldi. So what I do is I just got artisan bread from Aldi. I already set the oven to 400 degrees, and it is preheated or whatnot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take this out, and just like this, not on anything, I'm going to stick it on the rack. Okay? And let it cook for about 10 minutes or so. When it comes from Aldi, it is it's not frozen, but I usually get a couple of them, so I put them in the freezer. So if it's still frozen, it may take a little longer than 10 minutes. It may take like 15 or so, and you may have to cut it in half in order to get it to fully cook all the way through. And well, not necessarily cook, but heat all the way through. So, but anyway, I put that in there. We'll do it for about 10 minutes, and then we'll check it, and that'll be our bread. So again, not really making that, just wanted to show you what I'm doing. So we're into the last minute of the rice, and I'm just going to take a quick look, and yep, so when this goes off, I'll show you what it looks like, and then we'll begin to do the tilapia, which is one of my favorites, to be honest with you. And get another sip of my wine. Actually, shouldn't take a whole glass, because that becomes a whole different kind of cooking show if you start drinking glasses at a time, but a couple of sips is good. So, all right. So we're just about 10 seconds away. While we're doing that, while we're waiting for that last 10 seconds, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some olive oil, and I'm going to put it in the skillet that I'm going to, just put a little bit in there, that I'm going to pan-sear the tilapia. And there's the timer. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show you what this looks like, and I just realized how hot that lid is. It looks like, so nice red Spanish rice, perfectly cooked. So we're going to take this, we're going to put this in the back for right now, okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my skillet, and I'm going to pan-sear the tilapia, and I'm going to put it on there, and I'm going to turn this back to a medium heat. That'll help heat up the oil to get it perfect. So then I'm going to reach over here, and I'm going to get my tilapia. Tilapia I get at an Asian fish market. It's fresh. It's really a great way of getting fish. It's better than the frozen kind that you can get at the store, what have you. Not those are bad, but I do like the fresh fish. I do like them. They will actually, my fishmonger will actually scale it and fillet it for me, and I get to pick up the fish I want. They do have fish that have already been caught, but they also have some that are live, and they will actually pull it out of the tank for you and whatnot. This one happens to be one that was caught, not actually live in the store, but it's perfect for what we're trying to do. So while the oil is heating, I'm going to show you what to do. So what we're going to do, it's very simple. Salt and pepper. You may think, just salt and pepper on fish? But salt and pepper on fish, yes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the salt, and I'm just going to, again, as we talked about before, I do like using sea salt. Again, I use McCormick sea salt. I live in Maryland, and McCormick is local to us, but it's also, McCormick is everywhere. So a little bit of McCormick sea salt grinder, okay, just on the top part. I don't do it on both sides, okay? Then I take black pepper. Now, unfortunately, this isn't McCormick's. This is actually Aldi brand. But you just take black pepper, and you just grind the pepper over top of it. And this is what it looks like before you put it in the, so you can see the salt and pepper's on top of it, and that's good. Next thing we're going to do is you want to get some flour, just regular old all-purpose flour, okay? And I'm going to reach up and I'm going to grab another plate because it makes it easier. But you take the tilapia, okay? You take the piece of tilapia, put that back there for now, and you just put it in the flour. You want to try and get as much flour on it as possible, okay? Just dip it in the flour, okay? And then what you want to do, shake off any excess, okay? And put that on there and get ready for pan searing. Do that with the second one, okay? The reason why I don't use the same plate, it's just a personal opinion. Even though it's still raw fish, I just like having the raw fish from one plate to a next and not cross-contaminating. I know it sounds weird, but it's just what I do. So, but anyway, again, so we get the flour, shake off any excess, and put it on this plate. We wait for it. Move this out of the way for now. And rinse off my hand. Okay. Rinse off my hand, and then I'm going to check my oil. And if I do this, kind of go shake it around, it does cover. It is nice and thin, which is good. So then what I do, check to see if it's ready. And you hear this, the sizzling. It is ready. So before I put it on there, one last sip of wine. And you take the tilapia and you put it on top. Now, you want to do this 4 minutes each side, okay? So right now, I'm looking at my timer. I'm looking at my clock, not a timer. I'm looking at my clock. And it's 4 minutes each side, okay? And that's what we want to do. So after 4 minutes, it is done. As long as it's not frozen. If it's frozen, the best thing to do if it's frozen is to make sure it's defrosted before you cook it. But if it's not fully defrosted, you may have to adjust the cooking time. And the way you adjust the cooking time is the way you do with a lot of different fish. Check to see if it's flaky. Tilapia can be a little bit undercooked, just like salmon can be a little rare. Tilapia can be rare as well. I don't recommend it only because I don't like it that way. Some people do. But so we're going to do this 4 minutes on each side. And then when it's done, we'll take it off and you'll see, we'll see what it looks like. So I'm actually going to pause the video. I'm going to do the 4 minute. I'm going to do the 4 minutes on the one side. I'll come back. We'll flip it over, and then we'll do the 4 minutes again, and then we'll come back, and then we'll be all ready. So sit tight. I'll be right back. Okay, we're just about ready to flip it over. We're almost there for the full 4 minutes of the tilapia. I wish you could smell it because it smells amazing. I'm going to check the bread real quick before I flip it over. Bread looks like it's coming along just fine. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to flip it over. When you flip it over, it'll have a nice, because of the flour and whatnot, it's going to have a nice little brown crust to it. That means it's perfect. If you still want to check it, you certainly can. Again, just a little bit of flakiness to it. As long as it's not raw inside, you're good. So I'm going to go ahead and do the flipping over. Okay, and I'm going to flip over the other one. Now here's what it looks like. You can see a nice little brown crust to it. And I'm going to put this on here. And I'm going to let this go for 4 minutes. And then we'll come right back right beforehand and show you one last thing before we do. All right, we just have another minute or so before we're done with this. What I'm going to do before, the last step I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of melted butter and just tap it on the top of the fish. And then when it hits the full 4 minutes on this side, I'm going to flip it for another minute on the other side. Get that butter nice and tasty in there. Put a minute on there. Put a little bit of butter on top, flip it back for a minute, and then we're done. So this is almost done. While I'm waiting for this to finish up, I'm going to reach over, grab my cutting board for my bread, take my bread out of the oven, okay? And it looks like that. As I said, I would love to say I made the bread, but thank you, Aldi. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm going to keep saying Aldi until they sponsor me. So it's now been 4 minutes on this side, so I'm going to flip this over. flip that over. And then I'm going to take a little bit of butter, just a little bit. Again, touch the top of it with just a little bit of butter. Done with the butter for now. Put the butter away. While it's doing that for the minute, I'm going to one last sip of wine. And I don't know if you've noticed while I'm waiting for this, I've had my helper cat sitting right here, but my helper cat has gone off somewhere else. So, oh wait, there he is. My helper cat. Let's see if I can get a picture of my helper cat while I'm waiting. Yep, that's my helper cat. That's Flounder. Oh, and that's Normal. We got two helper cats. Now, just had to show that while I'm waiting. So it's been a minute on this side. I'm going to flip it over. Flip it over. We're going to flip this one over. Cook it for a minute. And then we'll put it on the plate. And I'll show you what it all looks like. And we'll be done. And we'll be ready for a great birthday dinner with the wife and a great midweek date night. So hopefully it'll work out for you just as well as it worked out for me. So we're almost done with that minute. I'm going to reach over. I'm going to grab my plate. You've seen me do this before, a little bit of spinach on it. I like to put a little bit of bacon on the spinach just because it gives a little dressing, or a little dress up, not dressing. Some people put walnuts, some orange slices, something like that. That's always good too. Anything to add a little bit of flavor is good, and anything that's quick. So I'm going to put that right here, and this is done. So I'm going to take the tilapia. I'm going to put the tilapia right there on the plate, and I'll put the other piece on the plate later. I'm going to move that off the stove, or off the hot spot. I'm going to reach over, and that was hot. And I'm going to grab a little bit of Spanish rice. You can hear the fish still cooking in that pan. But a little bit of Spanish rice. And, ladies and gentlemen, birthday dinner for the wife. Seared tilapia, Spanish rice, and some spinach. And, of course, always, always, always with a Pinot Grigio. That goes well with it. My cats are right there, and you might actually see my son in the background too. He's kind of watching. So that's our date night dinner for Wednesday, a special episode. So happy birthday to my wife, but thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to the video and to my channel. And as you do that, you will see as I post more and more on. So again, thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of it. And please also let me know by comments if you've made it and if you liked it. I would love to hear what people have to say about it. So thank you very much. Enjoy and have yourself a